Welcome to another edition of the Postgame Wrap. I'm Jarret Johnson, and look at who I have here. Mighty Joe joining me on the Postgame Wrap. Mighty Joe, man, what a huge answer from this entire football program. They were just thrown in the mud, spit on, kicked on by all of us. And honestly, rightfully so after that just terrible, Charles Barkley, terrible performance in Austin. But they came back, had every excuse to quit, every excuse to lay down. All the injuries to so many guys. I mean, this literally was the second team almost across the board with some of those stalwarts, veterans there kind of helping with leadership. Who would have thought Texas Tech has some leadership after last week in Austin? But they won 23-20 in Morgantown, beat West Virginia. Now all of a sudden, Joe, Texas Tech is 4-1 overall and 1-1 in the Big 12. Break it down, man. What are your thoughts for all that and what we saw here today?
Boy, it's, it almost seems like it's just physically impossible. Impossible.
Yes.
Forget about the psychological aspect. Right. Because everything is so patchwork.
Yes.
You know, I mean, good Lord, who knows who you're running in and out of there? And it's not just the guys who were missing coming into this game. You were dropping like flies throughout the game.
During the game, yes.
Pearson. You know, Townsend,
yes,
and Kosai Eldridge got hurt, I think, and it's just they were losing people left and right, and so just from that standpoint of personnel,
yes,
the accomplishment is tremendous, and against a good team. You know, I mean, I'm not saying West Virginia is a world beater.
Well, they just took Oklahoma to the limit. You know?
Sure they did. So on the road. You know, that's a tough place to play. It was a big crowd. They were loud to start the game. Anyway, Tech shut them down with that 17-0.
They got to a fast start.
Yes, they did.
They can do it. You know?
Crazy. And then, boy, I tell you, it's the dismal third quarter. You know, and everything that you built up in that first half, you turn around and gave away.
Yeah.
And so you're going into the fourth quarter, and things are looking very, very dubious.
We were looking at each other.
Oh boy, wouldn't it be terrible to lose it like this? But man, and then they showed the resilience. You know, last drive, they had to have it, man. Drove it down there. What was it, about a 70-yard, 75-yard drive?
I mean, they got down to first and goal. Before running clock. You know, which they played that right. That's one of the things I was so impressed with was situational football. Coach Wells and the staff, they did what they were supposed to do, right?
Yeah, they nailed it. They nailed it. They couldn't have. Last drive couldn't have really been executed any better.
No.
You know, and that was the drive of the game right there. Columbi, I mean, we could talk about him all day.
We could do a whole video about Columbi, his poise. He took those big plays when they were there, but then he also, as the announcers kept pointing out, took what was there underneath. Didn't make any big mistakes. He didn't have any touchdowns, but he had a lot of yards. He moved the ball. He moved the chains, moved the offense, and he got another W. That's what matters.
Yes, you know? Absolutely. So, yeah. Altogether, just an amazing performance.
Yes.
I thought, and you did too, based upon your prediction, the Tech would bounce back and play respectably today. Yes. We didn't think that they were going to come in and get blown out by 35 points again, the way they did down in Austin. But to come out there and actually win the game, man, is just... boy, that's everything you could ask for.
There's a couple of things that they showed, Mighty Joe, to prove your point too, and things that we talked about going into the season that it proved out. First off, the depth. We said this team has more depth than we've seen, and any of us have seen from Texas Tech, recent Texas Tech teams. I mean, come on. Like I said, it was a total mash unit out there. The leading rusher, gone. Starting quarterback, gone. All-American receiver, gone.
Your starting secondary.
Center. Your entire starting secondary was gone. Think about that. Any other time, this is my 9th consecutive season covering Texas Tech exclusively, and any other season, including that first 2013 season, where basically you had Bruce Jones and some good safeties that were hurt all the time, and that was it. You know, if you lost your entire starting secondary, that was it. You're not going to win.
No.
But they won today, in spite of that. Now, part of that, honestly, is who they were playing. But still, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I didn't make any excuses because there should not have been any excuses made for that loss and the way that Texas Tech lost in Austin. But I'm sure as heck not going to throw any caveats out there to Tech winning in a game that they had every reason to lay down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a team that showed no fight in Austin, showed nothing but heart. And like you said, West Virginia came back. This is what I thought. This is another thing that I said, that what we thought going into the season about this team is that it would be resilient. It was a tough team. again, after what we saw today, after what we saw them being a second-half team for the first 3 games, even with the competition, this is a tough team. I really believe that. I know they didn't show that at all in Austin, but they showed that with West Virginia making that 17-0 run. It looked like they were going to take control of the game. Tech gets a field goal, then you hold them to a field goal.
Yes.
Late, which nobody thought they were going to hold them to a field goal, right?
Yeah, it was looking pretty dire.
I mean, but you did. And then you go down there, and I kept waiting for them to fumble the kick or throw an interception or miss a block and get a big hole. They didn't. They executed. Columbia, marched them down the field, had that big play. And then, situationally, they made all the right moves. They ran the ball. Srodic ran well when they needed him to. That vaunted defensive line we always hear about, that Tech pushes around every day. I'm just being honest. They push them around. And then they, like I said, they did make a mistake, ran the clock. You actually said no sky kick, but why don't you squib? And they did, and West Virginia made the blunder, not Texas Tech. With the kneel down, and then they held on. For the big 23-20 victory. Like I said, Tech is 4-1. Everybody was today. I had people saying, if they lose big, Wells is gone. Well, no, he's 4-1 this year, and 1-1 in the Big 12. And then you got TCU coming in for homecoming. And you win that game. I don't know about you, but everybody look at you. We're business boys, because then you start with Kansas State. I mean, those are some. We start getting into the win-loss prediction that we had going into the season of 7 or 8 wins. So, again, college football is such a week-to-week proposition. It's unbelievable. I mean, it was minute to minute with if Wells is going to be fired or the man or whatever.
Right. Well, I'm beginning to think and hope that what happened in Austin was the aberration.
Right.
That was a one-off deal. I asked Matt Wells.
You did. That was a great question.
I asked him, okay, was that not the real Red Raiders? Was that just some sort of a weird fluke about you guys down there? And he said, well, I hope so. That's what we hope. And maybe, indeed, that was the case. It was just one of those deals where you come out there and you play as poorly as you can, basically. And Texas plays as well as they can. And then they got a guy named Bijan Robinson who...
he makes everybody look foolish. But that wasn't the whole story there. We're not going to go back to that because we've covered it.
Right.
But, yes, you're right. Now everybody has a Bijan Robinson. Man, that guy's legit.
He is. So maybe that game really doesn't matter that much in the big scheme of things. And maybe that's just one of those weird deals. And... everything else that we've seen from Texas Tech, at least against Houston, against West Virginia, these are the real Red Raiders.
Yeah. There's still problems abound.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I mean, there's plenty to criticize from the game, but I was just so overcome. I was proud. I was proud of the coaching staff and the players for responding the way they did. I mean, that's what this is all about, right?
Yes.
I mean, not to get too philosophical, but life. I mean, life... football, that's what the great metaphor for football, for life, is that, man, you're going to have a lot of adversity. This is not for sissies. The game of life is not for sissies. The game of football is not for sissies. It's how you respond. To quote Rocky, I'm quoting Rocky, it's not, how hard you get hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. They took a knockout blow almost in Austin.
Yes.
But they responded against a tough, East Coast, tough, gritty West Virginia squad with one of the top defenses in the country. Arguably, it was the top defense going in the Big 12 going into the game. But you responded with that whole mash unit of your team, and I'm happy for those guys. They did it for each other. They didn't do it for anything else other than, in my opinion, for each other. They banded together and. I don't know. I'm just as much as down as I was on them for last week for that terrible performance, and disappointed. I'm proud and happy for them. For this performance.
Bandwagon's filling back up again.
We'll see. There's a whole contingent of fans, right, who are frothing them out, like, all right, we're gonna fire Wells. You can see them. They're so they were so giddy with the loss. It was kind of weird. You can tell they're kind of slinking back into the cave and everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were very critical, but. How could you not be critical of that performance?
Yeah, sure.
I believe in calling it like I said. The week before, it was terrible. This week, it deserves a lot of praise for the way they responded, right?
Yeah, it was just such an improbable win. And it's not, we're doing a few cliches here. It's not about, about whether you fall or not. It's about, how you bounce back up.
Yeah,
what happens after you fall.
I feel like you're mocking me, but that's all right.
No. I would never do that, Jared.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was sweet.
If you can't tell, we're pretty happy. We're happy. We like it. Believe it or not, and there's a lot of people who don't believe this, we actually are, we are homers, but then on the other hand, there's people that believe, we're the ones like frothing at the mouth hoping that Tech doesn't do well. You'll never see that here. We're happy for them. I was just so bewildered by the performance before because I really did not. They gave us great access. I feel like I really know a lot of the guys on the team through the recruiting process and all that, and I was just bewildered with that before. It would seem like the aberration. It's just the thing is we've seen it from Texas Tech so much in recent years. So a lot of people are like, I know that. I know that team. I've seen this before, But I just, that's not what I thought this team was. And so for them to respond, it's like, it affirms a lot of the things that we thought about them. And then you start, now it's like, all right, I'm excited about next week. Okay, TCU looks good, but, I mean, playing back at the Jones, get to go back to the Jones, where Tech's been much better at home under Wells than they were the previous regime.
Right. So should be a big crowd after this win.
Yeah, you would think. TCU, a lot, there's bad blood there, of course, so which is always fun. I love that. I love some good old-fashioned sports hate. And I'm really looking forward to the game now, where I had dread going into this one. So maybe I should dread every game. Oh, I think we're terrible.
Call you Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd. There you go. And with that, Mighty Joe, great stuff from you as always.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for watching, and until next time.